Hey everyone, it is me again, sharing some more tough lessons from my journey, the kind that really hit hard and make you rethink everything. Today I want to talk about something that might sound a bit intense, but it is something I have learned the hard way. If you want your life to truly change, you are going to need to get extreme, seriously extreme. There is a lot of talk out there about finding balance, right? Like work-life balance. A bit of exercise here and there, making gradual changes, growing 1% a year for the rest of your life. And sure, that sounds nice, it sounds comfortable, but I have really noticed, especially for anyone in their 20s, that too much balance for too long, it just keeps you average. It keeps you complacent. And if you are anything like me, wanting more from life than just average, then you are going to have to push past that comfort zone. You need to go all in, full throttle, no holding back. I do not know any nicer way to put it. Honestly, I want to dive into why extreme behavior can literally rewire your brain. And I will share the 4-habit system that I have used myself when I needed a massive shift. Funnily enough, I am actually doing this right now because I have felt a bit stale lately. My business has been a bit on the back burner, and I've been a bit complacent for the last couple of months. So these past few weeks, I have really been cranking it up, making those changes. So consider this video a peek into my current process. I am right there with you on this journey. I want to break down my thought process, how I tackle these things. A bit of inspiration for this actually came from watching a video by Dan Company, while my story is totally different from his approach. To extreme focus resonated with me perfectly. It just lined up with everything I have experienced. So let us start with a big question. Why does your brain even need extreme in the first place? Now, I am no scientist, but I have done my digging and his video helped a ton. Your brain, it only really changes under pressure. Think about neuroplasticity, that amazing ability your brain has to rewire itself. It requires real intensity, moderate stress. It does not do much. It just kind of washes over you. But extreme stress, that is what forges diamonds, or in our case, creates real actionable changes in your life that actually make a difference. When you go extreme on something, 3 incredible things happen. First, your brain starts building stronger neural pathways. That is awesome. You enter a flow state much more easily. For me, that means focusing a lot quicker and smoother. Second, and this is huge, you start seeing opportunities that other people completely miss. You can actually outmaneuver competitors this way. And third, this extreme focus fundamentally alters how you perceive problems. I remember when I was starting my business, I looked at the idea of making money and thought, wait a second, it is actually not that difficult to hit a goal like $10,000 a month. I mean, I had just signed 5 clients at $2,000 a month each, or whatever deals I had at the time. It is crazy how 99% of the world is complaining about money, talking about how impossible it is. But when you rewire your brain, when you take action, that perspective shifts entirely. And I know some of you in the comments on my other videos have picked up on this, and it is a fascinating topic. I call it the obsession advantage obsession. When used properly, it is not unhealthy. It is very strategic. Of course, if you are 45 with a couple of kids, maybe obsessing over a startup is not the best idea unless you can balance it perfectly. But what I am talking about here is the ability to sprint. You go all out for a period, then you relax, then you sprint again. This is different from just coasting through your entire life, which is how you become average. And average is exactly what I want to help you avoid in this video. When you are truly obsessed with something, your brain literally filters reality differently. That is what happened to me 3 years ago. You start noticing things others do not. Opportunities just seem to appear out of nowhere. But that is not luck. That is actual neuroscience at play. This can apply to anything, whether it is investing, starting a business, or even getting on the AI train, which I think is here to stay. Even if the initial hype slows down a bit, it is not going anywhere. So that is one big thing I wanted to share. The next point is this. Your focus shapes your world. Your mind processes a ridiculous amount of information every second, every day, but you only actually grasp and retain a tiny single-digit percentage of that. So what determines what you notice, what you are obsessed with? Again, when I was obsessed with building my business, suddenly I saw client opportunities everywhere. People wanted my services. It was the same world, but my filter was entirely different. This is why extreme focus is not necessarily about working harder. It is about seeing a completely 360-degree different world than the people around you. This is why I have made videos in the past about leaving your hometown, getting out of your parents' house, and striking out on your own, expanding your horizons, because if you are so tunnel vision stuck in the same place your whole life, nothing is ever going to change. Nothing. Let us move on to the next point. Evolution demands intensity. This entire world was built on intensity. Think about building a skyscraper. A massive real estate project. There are deadlines for a reason. You need to become intense for a reason. Nature, technically by law, does not reward moderate effort. Evolution happens through extreme pressure, creating incredible adaptations. I already mentioned AI. Think about the internet. Think about real estate. All these monumental shifts, they only happen through intense effort. A chaotic but transformative period for me was building and scaling my business. It was the moment I realized, okay, these clients have paid me. I have to figure this out. I have to fulfill my promises, deliver my service, and learn how to do it. Even even if I was still figuring things out. This applies to new agency owners, new freelancers. If you do not know how to do it, it is time to figure it out. It is time to roll up your sleeves and say, okay, I am going to do this. Why would you just sit there, spinning your wheels, or not even try to sign a client in the first place? That is why added pressure can be a very good thing. This leads me to the next concept. I have made a video before on how to reinvent yourself. Sometimes you just need to disappear. You cannot build good habits on a bad foundation. You cannot add positive things until you subtract the negative ones. You have to minimize the crummy habits you have, because most people fail because they are trying to optimize without eliminating anything first. For the next 90 days, just disappear from your normal patterns. Not forever, but long enough to rewire your brain, long enough to condition yourself to believe that this new reality, this new world you are creating, is better than your current state, your current situation. For me, this was a controversial video I made around 2022 when I intentionally isolated myself from my family. Of course, I saw them for Christmas and birthdays here and there, but I was gone. I distanced myself from friends, from family. I even broke up with my girlfriend at the time because I was so laser focused on building my business, and looking back, I would not change a single thing. Because that period of intense focus, it gave me the freedom I have. Now it allows me to breathe, to step back, and honestly say it was worth it. It was incredibly tough, but I have some wild stories from that time, and I made my money. It was awesome. I might not have been the best person to be around during that phase, and sure, I would tweak a few things if I could, but overall, it was the best thing I could have ever done, disappearing, getting out of my rut, and completely changing my life. It was the most pivotal part, so this subtraction strategy, I call it playing defense first. Before adding anything new, audit your phone time. Eliminate truly bad relationships. I am just going to call it how it is. If you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever that you are not happy with, dude, it is time to call it quits. It is time to leave. And this could even mean toxic family members. I do not care. Just get rid of the low value relationships, then create physical, like literal hard barriers between you and your distractions if you need to. Throw away the credit cards if you are spending foolishly. Delete the apps if you really need to. Just set firm parameters and respect yourself enough to stop getting distracted by trivial things. That is the main thing you have to do here. There's no other way around it. What I eliminated during that time, as I mentioned, were video games. That was a big one. I have told this story before, so I will not dwell on it too much. But in 2022, I had an apartment with a sunset view from about 3:34 in the afternoon all the way until night. It was just bathed in sunlight. My PS4 was in the corner of my office, and when I finally thought about booting it up a year and a half after starting my business, I was like, what the heck? Why is this thing not working properly? Then I realized it was just sitting there soaking up the sun because I had not played it at all. I had no time. All I did was work and work out. That is all I did during that period. So I am not saying you need to go that extreme, but definitely subtract the negative things in your life. You would be amazed. Even if you do not do everything I mentioned earlier in this video, just subtracting the toxic things, think of them as cancers if you must, will make your life 50 to even 90% better. Just getting rid of the junk, whether it is physical or mental or both, it does not matter. Just get rid of it. Now, moving on to the 4-habit system. This is what I talked about earlier in the video. What can you actually implement? What are the key takeaways or items that you could do tomorrow or even today if you wanted to? First thing, one project. Pick one major project. Not 3, not 8 different things you are working on. Not day trading plus your full-time job plus trying to start freelancing. Just one major project, multiple priorities equal no priorities. I put that here because it is so incredibly true. Your focus is too split if you are trying a million things at once. So for 90 days, 3 months, this one project gets 80% of your creative energy. Everything else is in maintenance mode. That does not mean drop everything. Do not drop your health. Do not abandon your partner or your responsibilities, but truly focus on this one thing. For most people, it will hopefully be starting a business or maybe getting back in the gym or managing your finances better. Whatever it is, you need to focus on that. I have already talked about what mine were, but find your one project. Second is one learning source. Stop consuming from 12 different creators. Stop watching my videos if it truly comes to that, and start implementing. Pick one book, one course, one mentor, one creator, whatever it is, and go really, really deep. Instead of being 12 feet wide, be 12 feet deep. Personally, I spent 6 months obsessed with Becker's content back in the 2020 era. I swear, he was the only person I watched when he sold all his furniture, all his fixtures, and just lived in a minimalist, actually really nice apartment. That is when I really honed in. He was the only person I watched for about 5 or 6 months during that time. I am not saying you need to go to him specifically, but just find one person, one thing you can obsess with, and that becomes your primary learning source. That is how you truly learn something from A to Z right now. I would say people like Cole Gordon, Alex Hormozy, there are a million people you could choose from. It all depends on the route you want to take, but generally speaking, one source of information. Third part is one mind practice. I do not care if it is meditation. I am trying to get back into that myself. I do not care if it is journaling. It does not matter. Just pick one and do it daily. It could be breath work. I do not care. Extreme focus requires your discipline here. and this builds it. So you do not need a complicated 8-step morning routine. Just one thing, one good thing for me. Mine is walking. I am a big steps guy. I will get out for a morning walk, get some sun on my face, come back, have coffee, and then work. That is it for you. That could be meditation for you. That could be breath work, whatever it is. Find your one thing that you can do consistently. Fourth and final on this, your one body practice. Okay, this might sound a bit cheesy, but physical intensity requires and creates mental intensity. Pick one form of exercise and just make it non-negotiable. When my physical body is disciplined, my mind follows, and when my mind or my body is lazy, everything in my head gets a bit fuzzy, so try to focus on how a physical practice supports your business, supports your life goals, get out in the gym, whatever that is for you. So I hope this was summed up well. Hopefully this was curated well enough because I know it is a bit of a scattered video in terms of topics, but the main point is you need to become obsessed. And I know it sounds cheesy, but average or obsessed, I am picking obsessed every single day, and I do not care what anyone says about it. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have made it this far, I want to see you win. Go crush it.